How many do we have? I guess it doesn't matter who's here.
Morning, Alan. How are you?
Hi, Sarah. Yeah, very well, thank you.
I'll mention the names and then you'll know. And so Alan is here, and Gabby. How are you, Gabby? And Hung and Kunopadom.
Welcome, everybody.
Sawadika. No Nina as yet. Sawadika, Ajan.
It's after 1:30 now.
สวัสดีค่ะท่านสวัสดีค่ะ
Sorry, Kapasan.
There's Hang. Hi, Hang. How are you?
Hi, Betty. Thank you. I'm fine.
I know you were not swimming in this sea this morning.
Yeah, it looks nice behind you there.
But I'm sure
Now just dreaming about the sea.
you're back in Hanoi now. You're back in Hanoi.
Yes, in Hanoi already. Yes.
Now and here in this room. Together.
Right.
Service that.
Yes. Are there topics anyone was wanting? Are there topics anyone was wanting to bring up or questions?
Why don't you go ahead as you're in the room, Anne and Betty, and then we can chip in as usual. Nina is here too.
Oh,
So
good.
do you have anything you'd like to start with? Otherwise, we can see if anyone.
No, I can't think of anything offhand. If I hear something that might trigger.
Hello, Nina.
I suppose one of the things I have been thinking about, and as a result of a Dhamma discussion in Thai earlier this week, is I guess a deeper look at anatta. And it's something that is, I've got my microphone. It's something that we know the word, we know that everything is anatta, no people, no things, but we thinking about it more, however present it is. It's always, there is always anatta, everything is anatta. And it's, yeah, I've just found that very useful. John spoke, as always, very well and in detail about it on Wednesday.
This is the beauty of it, is that it's understood at deeper and deeper levels. You know, like when we learn it, it's at a very superficial level, and it's only when there's some understanding arises that you get to see it at deeper and deeper levels and what it really means.
Yes, and I think the more frequent consideration.
Yes, of course,
And thinking about it.
that's for sure. It has
That's-
to come before that, before
Right.
the understanding.
Yeah. I think right now, John would appreciate hearing from maybe you, Sarah, or Jonathan about more about it.
I just have a quick comment before, because I'd like Ajahn maybe to speak on this also. For me, there's a distinction to be made between the characteristic of anatta on the one hand, and the understanding of no people, no things on the other. The reason I say that is that anatta as a characteristic of reality is something that is understood as the understanding of conditioned realities develops. And the understanding of no people, no things also develops, but that reaches its culmination, if you like, with the eradication of wrong view of self, or wrong view at stream entry. But after that, there is still the further development of the understanding of conditioned realities as anicca, dukkha, anatta. And I presume all those characteristics are understood to an even deeper level at the various stages of enlightenment, whereas the understanding of no people, no things, that's been achieved by the eradication, by virtue of the eradication of wrong view. So that, I think that's when a particular reality is the object of awareness and understanding, the anatta characteristic relates to its conditioned nature, that it's not subject to control, that it happens by virtue of, it arises and falls away by virtue of different conditions. So that's how I understand to say that, for example, visible object is not a person, not a thing. It doesn't seem to me to to ever be in contemplation that it is a thing, if it's the reality. The reality itself is not contemplated as being a person or thing, if it's seen as it truly is anyway. Okay, those are my comments. Thanks.
Thanks, that's great. John is enjoying listening to us, I think, but if you have something you could say, I'm sure it would be appreciated.
About many things.
Many things. We were talking about anatta.
Yes, all anatta, all dhammas are anatta. Sure.
Yes.
Enough.
No.
That's why we have to understand the characteristic of one reality to know that it cannot be anyone or anything at all. Otherwise, it's kept in mind as something all the time. So now it's not that which is seen. See, someone is always there all the time. But the understanding of the truth, little by little, who knows, at moment of wearing the handle or touching, or what would it say, holding the knife handle, how much it's wear away, or one of just very little at a time, unknowingly. Even right now, see, looking at and as usual, but the understanding begins to develop with right understanding. But it's so very little, but it's still there, as long as it appears by way of nimitta, face and shape and everything. That's why to be truthful to the truth, actually seeing so short, just that which is seen, how can it be anything? That's all. Keep on not forgetting it from time to time can condition a little more understanding. No other way.
And I think it comes back to the understanding of Dhamma, one Dhamma at a time. The understanding of seeing as seeing is actually the understanding of what is meant by anatta, because it is just a Dhamma, no thing, no one in it. It's just the reality of seeing which sees, not in anyone's control, just a reality arising by conditions that arises and sees. And what has arisen has gone instantly. So there's no point in rejoicing or being sad, because it's just conditioned the way it is and gone immediately. The pleasant feeling, the unpleasant feeling, they're just dhammas. They don't belong to anyone, just realities that arise by their conditions and gone instantly. So the understanding of anatta is actually the understanding of Dhamma, just as it is. So this is why we always talk so much about different realities, seeing what is seen, touching what is touched, just to understand that's all there is in life, different dhammas, different cittas, cetasikas, rupas, arising by conditions and gone, not belonging to anyone. Last week, Nina asked a question about what would Ajahn do in a certain situation, and she said she would like to hear and consider more. The point is, we're so used to thinking about what I am doing, or what should I do, or what is Ajahn doing, or what is Anne or Alberto or someone doing, or what is the best thing in this situation. It's all because of not understanding reality at this very moment, when there is the understanding of just what appears now, hardness that is touched now, pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling that experiences the object now, then no one there at all. It is just the reality that arises by conditions and is gone instantly. No thought at those moments of what I should do. Carry on, Nina.
I said this because I thought of the good example by Ajahn. What would Ajahn do? Well, being aware in the right way. And that was my question, really. What's her good example?
I think the good example is instantly not thinking about what I should do in the conventional sense as we're used to it. Oh, I would sit quietly, or I'd open a Dhamma book, or I'd listen to the recordings, or I would reflect on the Dhamma, or no, because actually at this moment, there's no I to do anything. There are just, if the conditions to feel sad, the conditions to feel sad. If there's fear and worry, there's fear and worry. If there's seeing now, there's seeing now. So it's never a matter of doing anything. There are just different realities arising by conditions. And it entirely depends on those conditions, what arises, no matter whether conventionally we refer to Ajahn or Nina or anyone else. If the conditions for sadness, sadness arises and is gone. So we think so much about how I should handle the situation or what I should do. But what about the understanding of thinking or worry at those moments? Because they're just different dhammas arising and gone.
Thank you. And I heard what appears as something and someone, and we cling to people and things around. That was a question, but just now Ajahn explained again what it means as something. But I still think it's good if Ajahn can elaborate a little more about this.
We have many words to think about, but reality is there now. So listen again and consider the truth of it again and again. For example, do we have quite enough understanding of such words like citta or rupa and so on? Or even is there no idea about the nature of it yet until begin to attend to the characteristic of that which is there? For example, citta, it is always there, anytime, any moment, experiences any object, but still it's not known yet, because no attention to the characteristic which
experience what is there now. Just some words like this can be conditioned, consider a little more, that which now experience or sees, that which appears. So now, what appears? There is a reality which appears, and we take it for something, while it is only that which is seen as different colors right now, only different colors. But the succession of the rapidity of the arising and falling away from one color to another color, on and on and on, condition the idea instantly. I see that person I have known, see, instantly. But in truth, it's only that which is seen. And the idea, which is so firm, at any moment of seeing, it is something all the time by nimitta, by shape and form. So when we read Tipitaka or heard the word from the book like nimitta, it's there. And it can condition a furthermore considering about the truth. What is there in the world, in life, is only nimitta. See, not to forget the truth that it is nimitta, even it's seen, it does not see only that which can be seen. There is different nimitta of one characteristic to another characteristic until it forms up the idea of something and someone. So we live in the world of ignorance and attachment, not understanding the truth of what is there, which is so very short, because it seems so long. The whole day is there, that which is seen, people and things all the time. But in truth, develop the understanding of the words of truth about it. It cannot be seen without that which arises to experience it, to begin to consider a little more whether it's so true, little by little, to be firm. That which is seen cannot be seen without that which arises and experience it. So it's true. This is the way to develop firm confidence of the truth. And the confidence of the truth itself develop gradually to the moment there is attention, just attention to what is there now appearing. For example, it can be hardness. See, hardness is attended, not forgotten as usual, because there is a reality which is not just that which experiences it, that we use the term seeing, the reality which experiences only visible object. It is its characteristic, its nature, and its function. It just arises to see only in life, no matter what life, any life. That reality which arises to see is different from that which attend to the characteristic of that which is there, which has been heard many, many, many times, and begin to have firm confidence that what is seen cannot be anything or anyone at all, but it is that which is the shape and form, the nimitta, the image, with one color and then many colors, and then condition the shape and form as something all the time, so rapidly, that cannot be known if there is no teaching about the truth of it. That's why just learning to have confidence in a day. And when it's strong enough, it's the moment of beginning even just to think, it's that which can be known, hardness here. Otherwise, what can be known? If hardness at that moment does not appear, it cannot be known. So whatever does not appear cannot be known. But right understanding, just begin to consider not that which experience it, but another reality. That's why we learn to understand the meaning of different words that Buddha taught about, like manasikara or vitaka and so on, little by little, when it's there. And what condition, moment of attending to the characteristic is that which has been developed from hearing just one word and more and more and more about the truth. Right now, exactly the same. Keep on reminding, repeating about the truth. The truth is so true. Seeing arises and it sees now. If it does not arise, nothing can appear as that which is seen at all. So true. That's why it can be reminding at any moment of condition to not forget hardness now. See, is it now the object of attention or not yet? It's there and then it's gone. If it's not be the object of understanding or attention at that very moment, never be the understanding of the truth of it. It's there all the time. So any time can be moment of understanding what is appearing little by little, one by one, depending on condition, whether how many moments or how very short or none at all in a day. That's why it has to be truthful to the truth. And what kind of passion is there? So great patience to hear again, consider again, not by oneself, but at moment of hearing, there is reality, which considering what is there from what is heard. What is there from what is heard? About our reality, which now attends to no matter it's the sound, the meaning, the characteristic, or the characteristic of the object which appears. See, hardness is appearing. It depends on whether there are conditions for attention to the hardness of just when it appears. Nothing at all can appear together, no matter through what way. Is this true? Beginning to understand the truth of the world in a moment. Without that which is there, arising, experiencing, or that which is experienced, no world, no one, no idea, no thought about anything at all. So life is so very short, no one can imagine, because now so many people, how many moments of experiencing that which is seen, just so very little, very tiny, until it can become a person or a thing. Right now, just consider the truth in order to have firm confidence, and only the firm confidence of the truth can condition moment of beginning to attend to the characteristic of that which appears, and attention cannot understand. It's just wise attention or unwise attention by conditions, but it cannot be right understanding. Right understanding is because of the very wise or very careful considering condition moment of understanding, because understanding itself cannot arise out of the blue. Impossible for anything to just be there by out of the blue. It has conditions, hearing again, and that moment there are so many realities true, not just one characteristic of a reality. And we learn one by one what is there. For example, seeing right now, just in a moment, what are there? The Indriya is the reality which is the chief of experiencing the object. Otherwise, how can there be so many different ideas or right and our concept of such and such knowledge? See, from the reality which is the chief of experiencing what is there now. And this is the moment of paying attention to the truth of a characteristic which just arises from birth on and on, conditioned to arise in false way, non-stop, never absent at all, no matter any moment in life. It's that which is life, which experiences an object. It is different as the conditions for its arising is different. So how can it be the same one from birth? It changes all the time by condition. No one knows until the enlightened of the Buddha, who enlightened the truth of every realities or dhammas as anatta, because it's gone instantly after it has arisen. Instantly, never last, not be object of understanding when it's gone, and it's gone all the time. So what appears is just a nimitta of the reality which sees. There are moments of citta which experience object but cannot see at all. Only one citta performing the function of seeing that reality as achieved so clear. And that is its function. It cannot understand, it cannot like, it cannot get angry. Its function is just arising by conditions just to experience the object. So from hearing again and again, and it's there now to be considered, it can be attended a little more careful, a little more right and wise enough, little by little. Until then, condition is there. Experience the object with understanding more than before by the degree of the development of right understanding. To what degree? Because now, when there's no hearing about the hardness, now that it can be the object of understanding, there are moments of touching all day, but no attention to it at all. So how can there be the understanding of hardness that it's there and then gone instantly when it's not there? And in truth, before it's appear as it's not there anymore, many moments of its arising and falling away and its experience, but no understanding of any moment at all. That's why we learn just about what is there appearing to understand a little more about different realities which are there. For example, feeling now. Is it real? Can it experience the object like that which is achieved just arise to experience? Not at all. Learn to understand each different realities little by little. So what is there in a day if it's not attended carefully, wisely? It cannot be object of understanding at all. Just take it for granted from birth. That's why we learn to understand the characteristic of a reality which cannot understand the truth. It's there, but if it's not known or taught by the enlightenment, how can anyone know? For example, right now, the same question as last time. What is there? See, just what is there? What's the answer? To be truthful. What is there?
Sita.
See, is it real? That moment, that is that moment for real. After hearing, what is there? And what is the moment after that? See, it's real, but what is it? Before thinking that it's real, there's no thought about it at all. Even it's real, it's a reality. It's that which experiences an object. But the object is not known.
But the characteristic of that which experiences is there because nothing appears together at all. Even this has to be considered a little more by conditions. That is so true. So when hearing it again, it develops just a little more. The same question, but the answer is quicker because understand a little more about it. And we call it ignorance because no understanding of that which appears. So how can it be? It cannot be right understanding. It cannot be attachment, but it's a reality itself that we just talk about it all day. Chitta, chitta, chitta. But what appears is only that which chitta experienced. That's all. So the chitta itself is hidden. So innermost, it's there all the time. So even it's there now, everything. Seeing is so close. Hearing is here, so close. Everything is so close. But what is taken is something else far away all the time. Not closer to that which is the innermost or what is there now as it is. That's why we keep on talking about the truth. Never enough at all. Anytime someone came to see the Buddha, he just said, is that seeing? Is it last? And so on, like this. Just talk about what is there. Then to understand that which is there. Otherwise, it's just thinking about, not understanding or studying the characteristic which now sees or hears or thinks. So we can talk about any reality to have a little more understanding that there is not just one reality which arises to experience the object. And we learn a little more one by one as it is. Like Chanda or Viriya and so on. Not just read all of them, try to find the meaning. But the characteristic of that is right there at that moment, even while one is reading or thinking. That's why I understand what is meant by studying Dhamma, because Dhamma is right now. And Buddha taught about the truth of it by words, but it's not just the word conveys the meaning or the truth, which is there right now. So now we can talk about that which is seen, or that which it sees, or the feeling which is there too, or memory which is there, little by little, to enroot the understanding of the very precious reality, which can understand the truth, the hidden truth, from eons and eons ago, uncountable eons. To understand it, it's beyond expectation, because it's so very deep and very subtle.
Nina, I think you started off by asking about in the connection of the discussion from last time and why there is the emphasis on something and someone. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Because now what is seen, we know it's just visible object, just color, but instantly something is there, the shape, the pattern, the ocean, the sea, the person. So even though we know and we've heard so often that it's just the color, just the visible object, but the clinging to the idea of the pattern, the shape, the thing, the person arises almost instantly. And that's why it's covered up. That's why the visible object doesn't appear just as it is, because it is so quickly something or someone. And that is what is meant by not understanding the reality as anatta, because it's taken for something, someone immediately. And no matter whether it's taken for a pattern or someone or an object, a curtain in your background, that is atta sanya. Immediately there is the recognizing as something there, atta sanya, not the understanding of just what appears as anatta. So this is why I think that we always come back to talking about what is real right now, because we read in the book about realities being anatta, and we think, oh, that's obvious. There's no I who is controlling anything, and there are just different dhammas arising and falling away. But the atta sanya, taking for something, is right now, even at this moment, whilst discussing about the truth of different realities. As soon as we see the image of our friends, it's someone there, something, different colors, different patterns. So
Yes.
we can see how very common and invasive the atta sanya is, even now.
Yeah, even when I look at you and when I listen to the talking, what you say already, atasanya.
And it has to be known. One has to appreciate that it's there at this time, because people often have the idea, oh, well, those who go to follow wrong practices or go to meditation centers, oh, it's all wrong idea of self. But actually, it's now, it's here and now. So that's why, as Ajahn was just stressing, the study is of Dhamma, is the study of the truth at this very moment. It's not for the others doing their wrong practice. It's right now. The atta sanya is here now. The ditthi is here now. The clinging is here and now. The ignorance is here and now.
Yeah.
Seeing is here and now.
Very good. Very good
So
to
this
be.
is the point, and this is the point of talking about anatta, back to Anne's original question. It's actually not, it doesn't even matter about the word anatta, but what about what is true now? What about what appears at this very moment? Because this is the only way that there actually can be any study of Dhamma.
Very good reminder, yeah. Very good to be reminded again and again.
And on, Ajahn mentioned about one word, just I think at the end of the discussion last time, we were talking about Chaitana, and I think Azita might have brought up the topic of Chaitana and karma, but at each moment, Chaitana is arising with each citta, with each moment of seeing, with each moment of thinking, with each moment of touching. And we're so used to thinking about when it's more obvious at moments of kusala and akusala, about how there's urging or willing or coordinating the other dhammas, but actually it's right now at the moment of seeing. The Chaitana is performing its task of urging or willing the other Chaitasikas and the Chitta to perform their particular functions. So it's daily life at this very moment, at every moment in life. And I think it's important to understand, one of our friends on the discussion list just talked about karma in terms of good and bad action, because this is usually how it's often considered. But this is the Chaitana at this moment, at every moment, with seeing, with hearing, with kindness, with anger. Each moment of experiencing is accompanied by Chaitana, which is karma. It's just that at these moments, it doesn't lead to particular courses of action through speech and deeds that will bring results, but still there is the function of willing and coordinating at every moment.
Good, yeah.
Anything else you wish to bring up, Nina or Azita, on the Chaitanya one or anything?
I appreciate very much all these reminders, and I need them really.
One of our friends, Royce, he said in a personal note to us how much he appreciates the Zooms, and particularly he really appreciates the topics you bring up, Nina, and your questions. I think it's helpful for everyone.
Well, some time ago, there was talking about danger, and whatever is conditioned now is danger. Any conditioned reality is dangerous. So before we understand that, that will take a long time to see the danger.
It's true. It takes a lot of, as John was saying, a lot of very careful consideration and attention, and understanding has to develop on and on. If there is not the direct understanding of the arising and falling away of realities now, the seeing now, the hearing now, the pleasant feeling now, whatever is conditioned, then we just can say in theory it's dangerous, but it's not really appreciated that it's dangerous because it's not really understood as impermanent and unsatisfactory at this moment. But the seeing now, it falls away instantly. It's no refuge at all. It's not in anyone's control. It's unsatisfactory. And actually, whatever is conditioned, which leads on in life in samsara, is no refuge, and it is a danger.
Yes. It's dangerous because it leads us away from the truth.
And in the deepest sense, like we read about in the text, even the realities like understanding, which are conditioned, are dangerous. Whatever arises and falls away, whatever is part of life in samsara at this very moment, isn't a refuge and is dangerous. So only when there is no more becoming, no more life at all, is there no more danger. So that's why it's only the understanding that has to develop on and on, higher and higher, that gradually leads away from clinging to conditioned realities because of understanding the impermanence and the danger and the fearfulness of whatever is conditioned. But the understanding has to begin now. Beginning to understand that what is conditioned is anatta, as we discussed, and is gone instantly. Usually we rejoice about what is pleasant and sad about what is unpleasant, but it's all gone, it's all gone. None of it is of any value at all because whatever's conditioned has gone instantly. It's like playing with fire all the time, but not realizing it.
Yeah. But some time ago, just now, really, there was a remark about clinging to life and to be so happy to be alive. But on the other hand, some other people find there is no purpose in life. they have no purpose and don't want to live on and would rather, it's very, very common nowadays, they want euthanasia, they like to end life because they have no understanding at all and no aim. So if there's no idea of purpose to understand, to develop understanding, everything becomes aimless.
And this is because of clinging and aversion and ignorance. So it's the opposite of understanding the truth about dharmas as anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Actually, it's no understanding. It's the strong clinging to I and not liking what is present. But it's not understanding.
You know, I had some neighbors who want to stop eating and drinking in order to die sooner because I have no understanding what life is.
And also it's by conditions and accumulations like the lady that we often discuss who in Anathapindika's daughter who just stopped eating and stopped drinking because of so much sadness, even though she was a Sakadagami. So it depends on conditions. We don't know what will happen at any time.
Yeah.
It's quite common amongst elderly people just to feel no incentive to carry on, no wish to continue. So we don't know what realities will arise at what moment. But I think that, like you mentioned, so many precious opportunities to continue to develop understanding and also to share that understanding while there is time.
Yeah.
I find it.
I think for some elderly people who stop drinking, taking liquids or food at the end of their life, it's certainly not the same as taking one's life. Whether there's wrong view or not involved is difficult to say. I think it depends very much on the situation of the individual. It can just be giving up the will to live,
Yeah.
which is attachment, really.
I find it really hard to understand how Sakadagami can just be so sorrowful. That particular little story has always amazed me. And of course, as Sarah said, all by conditions, but yeah, and I'm looking at that situation from my point of view, and maybe who knows what went on. She stopped eating. Maybe she just wasn't hungry. Who knows? But it's a story of definitely uncontrollability of what's going on. Like this morning, I was reading through all the Jeta seekers and how quickly, absolutely quickly, they arise and they do their job and they're gone again. And then I remember last week, Achan was talking about madness, and that's the word that came to me, madness, to take all this for something that's lasting and able to be controlled. There's absolutely no possibility of controlling any of these Jeta seekers or Jittas or Rupas that arise and fall.
And so in that instance, for the elderly person or the one who's overcome by grief, just conditions for those citas to arise, no interest in eating, all by conditions. We never know what will arise next. I don't find it difficult to understand because we know that while there's still attachment to sense objects, there's going to be deep sorrow and grief, and so all by conditions.
However, Sakadagami obviously has eradicated quite a bit of attachment, quite a lot of the defilements, surely, to get to that stage.
But still there is clinging to sense objects. So, and still there is grief and sadness.
Mm. Yeah.
No harming of others, but still conditions for sadness. I find it a good reminder because these are all common states in daily life. And so one can see how much patience is needed because it's going to be like that. There's going to be clinging, there's going to be sadness, there are going to be ups and downs, even as more and more understanding is developed. So it's a reminder not to have expectations, not to cling to what will arise next, under what circumstances, because we just don't know.
True. I think the current situation going on here in Australia regarding this vote, the views that are coming across, it's just, well, yeah, jitters and jitter seekers, isn't it? Strong feelings one way or the other, or both, or none, or whatever. Yeah. Thanks, Sarah.
We had to vote today for something we have no interest in at all.
Yes.
That's another story.
Yeah. Yeah, I voted the other day, so it's gone now. Yeah. Thank you.
Sita, did you have anything you would like to bring up today?
Yeah, I have, there are so much of consideration about the meaning of Dhamma. There are so many, and I was remembering about this Ajahn once mentioned in a discussion many months ago. Dhamma is actually his body, the body, Buddha's body. And then I was reflecting and considering about this Dhammanupassana, where there are so many, the limb that are connected with it, like the clingings, how the aggregates, the way, and the factors of enlightenment, the Dhamma Vichara, and lastly this, what they call, the Four Noble Truth. This part, so I was, the meaning of Dhammas is too not deep enough to understand.
Let's see if Ajahn would like to respond, because I think you were referring to something she said about the Buddha's body. It wasn't very clear, but let me see if Ajahn would like to speak to you, maybe about one term at a time.
Are they all Dhammas?
Yes, yes. Yes,
So
I am.
just talk about one Dhamma at a time. Otherwise, they are all Dhamma, but we don't know what is meant by they, not just only one. And if there is no understanding of one reality, can there be the understanding of more and more one and one and one?
Yes.
so many realities in a day, and we
Yes.
cannot have understanding of all of them at once. But if we carefully consider just one reality as a reality, no one there at all, even just very short term, it cannot be anyone. To have confidence, there must be a little more understanding of what is there as taken for someone or something all the time, to understand the truth of it, whether it can be taken for something or someone at all. So we can talk about just one reality, no matter what, because the truth of it is explained by different manners, different aspects, to understand it clearer and clearer. And when we talk about danger, is birth a danger? See, we just talk about what are they as dangerous in life. They are dangerous, but it's just one moment, the first moment in life, danger. Is it a danger? To understand that even just one moment of the first moment in life, is it danger? To understand this moment is dangerous too. Is it danger? In what way?
Yeah, if you have no understanding about or the wrong view or ignorance, also they are all under danger. Am I correct?
That's why each reality can be understood a little clearer, little by little, to let go attachment and wrong understanding, taking it for very important. But in truth, where is it? What we take for very very important, fame, wealth, and so on. What is it? In a moment. In order to understand what we are going to talk about, on and on, like what you said, different aspects of Dhammas, they are all Dhammas. But just understanding that they are all Dhamma is not enough. What is Dhamma? And how is Dhamma? For example, is birth moment a danger? See, to understand it all after birth must be danger too. Is this moment dangerous? See, talking about it, but not seeing it or understanding it as it's so dangerous, and what is meant by danger or dangerous. Nothing happened. Is it dangerous? Just seeing or hearing or thinking.
Yes, they are thinking, yes.
That's why if we just think about this and that, little of this, little of that, it's not enough. But when there is clear understanding from the very beginning, whatever followed is heard, there can be the understanding of the truth of it.
Yes.
So now we can talk about just one Dhamma at a time to understand a little more. So what would you like to talk about? One by one, a little more clear. Which one?
I was confused, Ajahn, and like the truth, the Buddha was saying that if you see the Dhamma, you see me.
Yeah. Who's me?
Yeah, actually.
Who's me? If you see Dhamma, you see me.
Yeah, it's a very deep meaning. Yeah, it's I can only.
Do you see Buddha?
I saw, realized his teaching.
So anyone who understands Dhamma see the Buddha.
Okay. Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you.
The quality of
Yes.
the enlightenment.
Yes. Thank you, Ajahn.
That's why each word should be understood little by little to
Yeah.
develop all that has been understood little by little, to develop, to grow a little more, to have confidence of the truth of whether birth is dangerous or not, or is it a danger? Birth.
Yeah.
Otherwise, non-stop danger.
Yeah. Thank you, Ajahn.
But if there's no understanding, even it's now so very dangerous, no one knows at all.
Yes.
So we are talking about the danger in order to understand the danger, great danger.
Yes. Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you. Thank you.
And Sita, we could say that if there is the seeing of Dhamma, the understanding of Dhamma, then there is the understanding that in truth it's not you or I or anyone who sees or understands it. And actually, there is the understanding that there is no Buddha, no person who lived, no person
Yes.
who will ever live.
Yes.
There are just different realities arising and falling away. There are realities which we refer to as Ajahn, the realities we refer to as the Buddha. But
Yes.
by seeing the Dhamma, there is the appreciation that there never was a Buddha in truth. There never was an Ajahn. There never was Sita or Sarah. There are just different realities arising and falling away. And being born with ignorance, whatever arises is dangerous because it's conditioned by ignorance. And there will again and again be the arising of the wrong understanding of I that can do, can control, that should arrange life, constant clinging, constant disappointment, constant expectation, ignorance, on and on and on. Whatever arises now, even moments of understanding, all are conditioned by ignorance. If there was no ignorance to condition birth, none of these realities would arise. So they're all built on a foundation of ignorance,
Yes.
and wrong understanding. So it's very dangerous.
It's a very deep meaning, yes.
Very deep meaning. So seeing the Dhamma means seeing no one to see it,
Yes.
no person or thing to be seen. And so the seeing of the Dhamma is the seeing of the Buddha, means seeing of the qualities, but not of any person or being in truth. But we have to use I and Buddha and this one and that one for convenience, conventionally speaking. But there has to be more and more understanding that whatever we read, whatever phrase we hear, whether we're referring to the Buddha's body or the limbs or anything else that you mentioned, it is just referring to different dhammas, different moments of thinking now, seeing now, hearing now, very close at hand.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Sarah. Let me, if you can understand, if the meaning is very deep, if you can understand this one, then you can reflect deeper into the meaning of the word. Yes?
And there can be more and more confidence that what we have heard and considered the truth about now is what it's actually referring about, because the seeing of Dhamma has to be at this very moment. It's not just something to read about and
Yes.
understanding what is meant by Buddha. It has to be now understanding the quality of understanding, the quality of metta. It has to be the appreciation of dhammas right now, and in particular, the appreciation of dhammas as anatta, arising and falling away by conditions. No one there at all. No Buddha to be found, no Nina or Sita to be found, just different dhammas arising and each one gone.
Thank you, Sam. Ajahn.
So whatever we read about Dhamma, no matter whether we're talking about khandhas or Four Noble Truths or enlightenment factors, it's always about understanding of the reality right now. Otherwise, it's just book knowledge, learning what the different factors of enlightenment are. But if there's no understanding now of what is seeing, no understanding of what awareness is now, then it's not of much value at all.
Yes, the appreciation is a deep appreciation is there. And also sometimes I was about the Ajahn, the teaching and the compassion. Yes, and teaching the Dhamma, it needs a deep appreciation.
And the appreciation isn't by going to temples or following
Yes,
different
yes,
rituals or wearing special clothes, like you were mentioning it, so common in different
yes,
Buddhist countries. It's all about the here and now, and this is what the Buddha taught about. He
yes,
didn't teach about visiting Buddha images or lighting incense. He talked about seeing now, hearing now,
yeah,
understanding what is true at this very moment. And this is what, because you referred to the First Noble Truth, the First Noble Truth is about the understanding of reality now, different khandhas now, each one arising and falling away, of no refuge at all, but it's here and now.
Yeah, but if you don't study the Abhidhamma, it's the you cannot understand a deeper level of understanding Buddha's teaching.
What about the seeing now? Is it Abhidhamma?
There is seeing, the seeing.
And is seeing a Dhamma?
Wow. Seeing is a Dhamma. Seeing, but there's no there is no doer, but there's seeing.
The seeing. So seeing is a Dhamma. It's a reality. It's a Dhamma. It arises and it sees what is visible. It's Dhamma. Is it Abhidhamma?
Yes.
It's Abhidhamma because it's a Dhamma that is very subtle and deep, not easy to understand.
Yes.
So what is real is Dhamma, and what is Dhamma is Abhidhamma. So we don't have to just think of studying the book, but there can be the studying of what is seeing at this moment. Like you said, no one that sees. It's just that reality which is conditioned by the visible object that's and the eye sense and other conditions. It has arisen and it sees what is visible. So it's Dhamma. So the study of the Dhamma is right now.
Yes, thank you.
I tend to agree with Sita and about studying Abhidhamma, and I agree with you, Sarah. You know, it's now. But I feel like if I hadn't heard, and I think I brought this up before, if I didn't know, like a moment ago I talked about Jeta seekers, if I didn't know about them, I would not, I'm thinking there would not be any understanding of no self. But maybe yeah, that's my way of thinking. So I tend to agree with you, Sita, about studying Abhidhamma. And like another little story, I have a beautiful Buddha image, and sometimes I'll pay respect, and I have to remind myself very strongly, it's not the image I'm paying respect to, it's the metta and the karuna and all of the wonderful aspects that we call the Buddha. So I really have to remind myself about that, because paying respect to a statue seems rather ridiculous.
I think the point that Jan was making earlier when Sita talked about Dharma and talked about the aggregates and the factors of enlightenment and Dharma Vichara and the Four Noble Truths and so on, we can talk about a lot of details and read about a lot of details. But if there's not the considering of one reality at a time, like seeing now as Dharma, or what is Chaitana at this very moment, then even though we learn the words and the terms and the details, it's not actually the understanding of or the study of Dharma at this very moment. So it has to keep coming back to now for that study to be meaningful. So the studying of Cetasika is not just learning the details and when each Cetasika arises, but what is Passa at this moment? What is Chaitana now? What is its function? So it has to be related to understanding what the actual Dharma is in daily life.
Because sorry, because as you often remind us, what's the and you just did with Sita, seeing is Dhamma, seeing is Abhidhamma, and the meaning of Abhidhamma, that it's deep, it's subtle, it's hard. The Dhamma that's deep, subtle, and hard. It's not the words that's deep, subtle, and hard. Anyone can read and remember. It's the reality which is deep, subtle, and hard to understand. So that is the real Abhidhamma. The real Dhamma is Abhidhamma. So the study of Abhidhamma is understanding the depth of Dhamma.
Yes, that's well put, Sukim.
Yes,
it's not the
very good.
difficult study of the Pali terms or the remembering of how many realities arise or how many citas there are. It is understanding deeper and deeper what is the Dhamma, what is the reality at this moment, what is seeing right now. Let's see if Ajahn would like to add more, because time's going quickly.
At moment of paying respect to the Buddha, what is there? Statue, or just a moment of respecting the virtues of the Buddha? No thought about the relic or the statue at all, just about his great virtues for anyone to understand the truth. Because without his teaching, nobody can understand the truth of what is there at all in life. How many lives when there's no understanding of the truth? That person doesn't understand the virtues of the Buddha. Even such we take it for a very small point, but it's so important to be truthful. To even just the word Dhamma, see, it can be used as only Dhamma. All Dhammas are anatta, but nobody can change the element of Dhamma. That's why it is Paramada Dhamma. Parama. And it's so very subtle. We just use the term Abhidhamma for all kinds of Dhamma. So no matter one just say Dhamma or Paramada Dhamma or Abhidhamma, it's Dhamma. Different aspects. That's all. So the point of even when nobody use the term Chitta or Vijnana, there is seeing right now. And what is the nature of that seeing? It sees. Very simple, it sees. But the subtlety of it does not appear at all. Who can imagine what seeing or the reality which sees is? No color, no shape, no form, no, not visible object, not sound at all. So imagine only the world without rupa. See, there must be that reality which arises and experiences, not the rupa. For example, we can think about many things not as rupa at that moment. No thought about rupa, but that reality arises just to experience an object. It can be concept or idea or whatever. See, that's why understanding the what you say, pure characteristic of experiencing an object. So clear, just experience clearly, no understanding of what is there at all, but clearly experience the characteristic of a reality which impinges on the eye base. And this is the characteristic of a reality only, which does not perform the function of hatred or attachment or anything, but just arise to experience the object clearly. Right now, no matter what is seen is so very dim or very bright, the reality which experience the characteristic of that clearly as it is. In darkness, can seeing arise?
Yes, but it just doesn't, there's no light. So there is still seeing, but there's no light.
That's
So
right.
seeing.
Is that which sees darkness,
Yes.
not lightness at all, not light, but dark. See, so no matter what is there, under the ocean, up on the sky, or anywhere, it arises just to experience the object. This is the way to learn gradually to attend to the characteristic of this moment. A reality, only one. Different from what we say, feeling, memory, or even vitaka. See, each word conveys the meaning of the truth of that characteristic, only one at a time. But it's beyond any word when there is the understanding, because it performs its function. At any moment, citta arises, it has to be learned. That's why we learn there is birth moment, the first moment. Without that which arises and experiences an object, no birth. So what is taken for life or birth has to be that which arises and experiences an object. But at that moment, the object is not known. That's why we learn to understand no one there at all. In a moment, we can study any moment, even the moment of birth. That is there, experience an object for sure. Otherwise, it's just like hardness or other reality, which does not experience anything. So no matter we call it birth, the moment of birth, or the moment after birth, it doesn't matter. When there is the understanding of that which arises and experiences an object, it's there by conditions from moment to moment, by pajaya, different pajayas are there too. That's why even this is not the moment of birth, but it's moment of experiencing an object. So what is the difference between the moment of birth and the other moment? This is to learn to be truthful to the truth, to let go the idea of no understanding of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, or whatever moment in life, to have the firm confidence of no one, because it's that characteristic, a reality which arises and experience an object. If there is no thought about it at all, how can it be known? How can it appear? Because it's not known. Right now, it's now, all the time, but it's not known. So only when it appears, it can be known, no matter what.
And to know citta, like you remind us again and again, it's arising and falling, but it's just not known. At what stage is citta actually known? It must be well-developed panya to actually know one citta.
If there is no hearing about it at all, starting from that,
right,
without considering of that which now sees, no shape, no form, just experience what is there. So that is that which is seen, that which is heard, and citta is that moment, experiencing it. Without all these words, can there be any moment closer and closer to understand that which is there until it appears to be understood? And this is the development of understanding. In Pali, it is bhavana. Without intellectual understanding, what is bhavana? Not sitting, trying to do anything, but there must be other reality which arises with wholesome moment, because citta itself is pure bandhara. It cannot be kusala or akusala, but it is kusala when it's tainted by that which arises together, anger, aversion, or attachment, or whatever. That's why I begin to understand the moment of birth. What are there? All attachment, aversion, kusala, or kusala after hearing or experiencing any object accumulated on and on and on. And when we use the term accumulated for the reality which does not have rupa, shape, form, or anything at all, it's there, no matter how much is there, so enormous that if it's rupa, the whole universe or all universes cannot hold it because it's that which has no shape and form to need any place to keep it at all. But
and I think I understand, Achan, why you say birth is dangerous, because birth is full of all of the accumulations, and mostly it's moha, because it's moha, like moha is the beginning of that dependent origination. So if there's no knowing, then danger.
Beyond expectation, if it does not condition any moment of what it has been accumulated, different degrees of attachment to such and such object, different ones at different moment, to different from all anyone in the world, in any life, see? So understand how come to be different person because of the moment of birth, see? We just learn to understand that there is no self when there is more considering about each moment. That's why we can talk about any moment, any reality, because so much to talk about it. until it's known little by little of one characteristic at a time. So now, who it's beginning to understand how come to have such different happenings in life, different degree of ignorance or attachment or wisdom or whatever, all by conditions. And what is there right now with our birth consciousness? No condition for whatever arises now at all. And what is danger? If that birth consciousness is not danger, nothing is danger. Because not everything comes from that. Exactly the same, just arising and falling away. That's all. For all kinds of citta. No matter kusala and akusala, just learn about the truth of reality, a little more details to be understood. At that moment, it let go. Ignorance, because ignorance works its way all the time. So now it's just like going against the current of ignorance, any moment of understanding. So how much to do, or by conditions, to work the way, to have a little more understanding, patiently, very great patience. Khanti parami, see, no matter when one is in any situation, see, Piriya is there and so on. That's why each word about the truth of what is there can be known only after hearing, considering what the enlightened one taught from his enlightenment. Out of his enlightenment, all these words of truth come to be known little by little, to let go, hoping, wishing, expecting to realize it without any understanding at all. And this moment is parami, all kinds. Satya parami, Viriya parami, Khanti parami, Adhidhana parami, Nekkhamma parami. To have more compassion, because no one, only the accumulation of kusala and akusala works its way at each different moment. That's all. Is it dangerous? Non-stop.
Yes.
That's why.
Non-stop danger.
Yeah, it's not just take the word for granted. It's danger. It's dangerous. That's not enough. But to really understand the hidden danger, unknown now, before there can be the appreciation of the truth, to follow on and on, on and on and on about the truth, against the current of akusala, ignorance and attachment in the day, from day to day. See, that's why this way of understanding is the development of understanding the anatthaness. See, without such understanding, there is still attachment, very, very slight, unknown, that is there already. But the way to be patient, to understand the subtlety of Dhamma now, is the way to let go wrong understanding and attachment and ignorance. It is the path, the Four Noble Path, the fourth noble path of the Four Noble Paths. No other way. So if no one understands that this is now the path leading to let go ignorance, because right understanding is clear and strong enough to really understand what we have said right now as it is, beginning from attending to the characteristic which is there now. So when Dhamma is explained or talked about, it's for wise considering, careful considering, to have more and more confidence of the truth. that even right now, what is said by conditions, what is moved by condition. So what is done in the day, strong understanding, clear understanding of that very moment unexpectedly, because it has to be only by conditions. And if now is not known, never to realize the truth, to become Sotapanna. Wrong understanding arises with ignorance, and attachment cannot arise anymore. Absolutely. See, it has been accumulated for how long? 100,000 years and years ago, never arise again. What is such right understanding? And it has developed by many people in the Buddha's time. And it can be developed at moment of understanding the truth. So whoever sees me, whoever understands Dhammas, see me. The Buddha, great virtues of wisdom, purity, and compassion. And this condition more interest in study, in seeing the value, the precious Dhamma understanding develop little by little. If there's no such understanding, laziness, see, and even it's so precious, but no time for it, or something like that all the time by conditions. So no one can do anything for any other at all, just by oneself. Is there right understanding now, or is there wrong understanding now? And what is now? See, so more to learn by conditions, seeing the precious of what is now has been heard about the truth of this very moment, which is hidden like that which arises each moment from birth is not known now. This life, how short or how long, who knows? But it's one life. And what about next and next life? Not enough parami. How can it be realized? And no expectation too. That's why what is meant by parami is so great. Even right now, it's time to think about it, to talk about it. But what about the other times?
I think the reminders that life can finish at any moment is a good reminder, because then there's a little bit more urgency, I guess, which is probably just the self getting in and saying, "Oh, you better start understanding." But I think it's more subtle than that. Just the reminder that life is really short. This life is really short, and while there is the opportunity to listen and listen some more, it's dangerous to not take the opportunity, I guess. Mm.
And it can condition moment of going to bed and lie down, whether I will wake up or what plane, see?
Well, yes, they're good reminders, Achan, such good reminders.